Well, Minnesota's budget has a lot of extra money. The latest forecast that came out on Monday shows a $17.5 billion surplus. Republicans quickly released their Give It Back plan. This morning, I talked to the ranking Republican on the Senate Tax Committee, Senator Bill Weber. Take a look. Well, joining us now is Republican Senator Bill Weber, joining us from the beautiful town of Laverne. Thanks so much for coming on.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
All right. Let me ask you, Republicans are talking about a big tax cut, $13 billion. One of those tax cuts is the Social Security tax. Tell us how important that is for Republicans.
Well, I think it's really important. Number one, we look at Minnesota, and we're one currently of only 11 states that chooses to tax Social Security benefits. And some of the people who are who complain about providing this tax cut talk about that we're just helping the wealthy. Well, the reality of it is that we have many of our senior citizens who are receiving Social Security benefits who work extremely hard during their working career. They paid money into this, and they paid tax on the money which they used to pay into this. And so when we start taxing Social Security benefits, we really are creating a double taxation process. And the fact of the matter is that, the income tax on Social Security benefits starts to kick in at $25,000. And there are some people who do not pay income tax on those benefits. But we believe that there are 473,000 people who will benefit from having a Social Security exclusion from their income stream in Minnesota.
Let me ask you this. Governor Walz is also proposing a reduction to the Social Security income tax in terms of that rate, but he's talking about just for 90% of the people, but he's leaving out the 10% of the wealthiest Minnesotans. What's wrong with that?
Well, number one, if you look at the amount of reduction in Social Security income, it's really not very meaningful for any Minnesotan, to be honest about it. And it's just a situation whereby we as a state have continually punished those people who are the most successful. And, quite frankly, the people of Minnesota have spoken very loudly about it. When we go to the doors and visit with our citizens, this is one of the main items they talk about. And they say, it is time to get rid of state income tax on Social Security benefits. Well, and we agree.
It's interesting. Well, there are actually a lot of Democrats who agree, and the governor at one point throughout the campaign last summer was supporting this as well. Now he's changed to have more of a phase out. I do want to ask you about the rebate checks. You have very generous rebate checks that you're proposing for all Minnesotans, regardless of income. A lot of people think this is a very good idea, but it was also a very good idea last summer when the governor was running on this, and a lot of Republicans just criticized him and took him out on this. Why the change of heart?
Well, I think you have to remember that today's situation is different than it was a year ago. We have a much larger surplus in front of us right now than we did a year ago. When we were in session in 2022, it was the Republican position that the surplus that was showing up at that time should be given back to the people through tax cuts. Every paycheck, every week, every month, every year on an ongoing basis. And when you have the growth that we've had in the state surplus in the past year, it now makes it possible to do both.
Right.
And that's what we want to ask
you quickly. Republicans are in the minority, but you do have a major leverage point. That's the bonding bill. And it gets a little complicated, but the bottom line is that it's borrowing money for thousands of infrastructure projects all over the state. But in order to do that, you've got to get 60% of the House, 60% of the Senate, and that means Republican votes. Where are you on a bonding bill? They're actually going to talk about it in a committee tomorrow in the House.
Well, the Republicans would like to see a bonding bill happen. We recognize the importance of our PFA projects for our local communities, their water and wastewater projects. But we also believe that when we have historic surpluses, we need to be giving money back to the people of Minnesota. And if you can't be doing that up front and first and foremost, then you begin to question whether the majority really intends to do it at the end of the day.
Well,
and so
are you going to withhold support for a bonding bill if there is no agreement? I mean, because you can do it. Another proposal is to pay cash for all of these projects. And these projects are projects that every community needs across the state.
Well, I think we would be amenable to having cash payment on a number of these projects rather than incurring debt and incurring increased costs for the future for the people of Minnesota. I'm afraid, however, that the majority probably has spent that surplus a couple times over already in their minds, and I don't know that they're willing to make all that cash available.
Okay, it sounds like this could be a sticking point, the bonding bill, a big deal for everyone. Senator, thank you so much for joining us this morning from Laverne. We really appreciate your time.
You're most welcome. Thank you.